Saturday's convention, Republicans also renominated Attorney General Todd Rokita. Faced no opposition at this year's convention. He'll face one of two Democratic opponents in the fall. Here's what Rokita had to say at the convention on Saturday.
So we have to keep fighting. We have to take these gloves off because the radicals won't stop. We must lead, and we must lead boldly. We have no choice.
And last week I spoke with both of the candidates looking to go up against Rokita in November, who face each other in another contested convention vote next month. All right, I'm here now with Destiny Wells, Democratic candidate for Attorney General. Thank you so much for being with us today.
Happy to be here.
Todd Rokita is unopposed within his party for the GOP nomination, but on your side of the aisle there is a contested race for Attorney General between yourself and Beth White next month. Why do you feel you're the best equipped to take Todd Rokita on in the fall?
We were just out in the field 2 years ago, right? So we have the best information, the best data, we have the best network, and we already built the plane in 22. We're up in the air, and we're already pretty far ahead. So we are going to take that momentum to Todd in the fall.
You've been quoted about this race lately saying that you've had a harder time raising money since you entered the race, since Beth White entered the race, and that you asked her not to challenge you because it would hurt Democrats potentially in their bid to beat Rokita. She told us it's not a race to the filing line. The filing first doesn't guarantee you the nomination. What's your response to that? And will this fight for the nomination potentially make it harder to beat Republicans in the general election?
Well, look, we can look to our convention date, right? It's usually in June. It's in July. That's even shorter runway to the general election. And so I am a deputy chair on the state party. I've been in executive leadership for 3-4 years now, and I am firmly of the belief that we need to do what is best for Hoosiers, and that means that we need to win. And we need to work off of that as our first incentive. If we don't win, we're not in office, and if we're not in office, we can't improve the life of Hoosiers.
There's this fight for the nomination within your party, but Todd Rokita being unopposed in his, are you surprised he's not facing a challenge for the Republican nomination?
Well, I think right before we started, I quipped that Republicans fall in line and Democrats tend to fall in love. So I am not surprised that he's unopposed in his convention, but I know a lot is up in the air with Republicans wondering if he'll still be the candidate come November with that license of his that is called into question over this past year in disciplinary proceedings. And, you know, I would also say that we just have a lot of Republican support at this time, and they already plan on crossing the aisle.
Democrats haven't won a statewide race, though, in 12 years now. Why do you feel this is the race that could change that?
Well, there's so much going on above us, right? Top of the ticket. So we have, you know, Biden and the Trump matchup. We have a possible third-party candidate now with Rainwater in the gubernatorial, you know, and then also just from a name recognition standpoint, we have more name recognition than we did last time. I'm across the aisle from somebody who's kind of loathed nationally. I just came back from D.C. this past week, and I will say that a lot of people have a distaste for A.G. Rokita.
How much of this race will be about litigating his record and his time in office as Attorney General?
I think a lot of it is because he is using that office now, you know, more for activism than what it is supposed to be. I tell people that the best Attorney General is one when you walk in the office, you don't know if they're a Democrat or a Republican. You just know that they're a great attorney serving the people.
What would your main priorities be if you were elected Attorney General?
So it is to get back to the business of being the Attorney General. That means getting out of people's doctors' offices. It means getting out of classrooms and doing the work that we're supposed to be doing and being the people's attorney, not using the office as a platform to chase national issues and national talking points. People are tired. They're worn out. They just want to get back to business.
Republicans have a contested fight for lieutenant governor this year. You'll have this contested fight potentially in the AG's race. How do you see this playing out on the convention floor?
I think it's going to be exciting. I've done this once before. It's a great opportunity to get all the delegates in the same place and talk about the message of moving into the future. How do we do that? And that's the big thing that I think separates me from my opponent, Beth White, is that I'm focused on the party moving forward into the future, how we start to win, and bringing everybody along with me.
All right, our interview there with Destiny Wells. We also spoke with her Democratic opponent, Beth White, who told us why she thinks she's best equipped to face Rokita in the fall.
I have had a lot of experience that is very relevant, but I'm also a person of significant integrity. I've been a lawyer for 35 years, and I really believe in fighting the right fights for the right reasons, doing the right things when it's time to do them, and telling the truth, and just focusing on what needs to be done. I was the clerk of Marion County, as I know you know, because I was here in your studio many, many times talking about elections, child support, court records, other things. I was the first clerk in the history of Indiana to do a same-sex wedding in the summer of 14. So I had a lot of great experience. I've also been state agencies. I've been the chief legal counsel of 2 of those. I currently run a not-for-profit called the Indiana Coalition to End Sexual Assault and Human Trafficking. So I'm currently continuing my work on behalf of victims. I just believe that the Attorney General's office in Indiana has lost its way. I am really surprised, and this may be one of your questions, about why Todd Rokita doesn't have opposition within his party, because I really believe that he is not doing the things that really help ordinary Hoosiers. The Attorney General's office is a really powerful office, and there are a lot of opportunities to help ordinary people, consumer protection, protecting young people from cybercrime, protecting seniors from Medicaid and Medicare fraud. And our Attorney General is doing ideological fights. He's signing on to lawsuits about things like the border, things like our former President Trump and things that he's doing. It really is not the right approach. He is working on violating people's medical privacy through abortion-related records. And I just believe that the people of Indiana are tired of it. They are tired of an Attorney General who is not there to help them, but to help himself.
So you and Destiny Wells have both run for statewide office
Correct.
Before. She's reportedly had a harder time raising money since you entered the race, and told Importantville that she asked you not to challenge her because she said she felt it would hurt Democrats in their bid to beat Rokita. What's your response to that? Will that make him harder to beat?
Well, I don't think so, because what I believe the Democrats need to do is to field the strongest possible candidate who has the strongest possible chance to beat him in the fall. And I think that's me. Destiny did file first, but I don't think this is a race, to the clerk's office. I think what this is instead is a really robust exchange of ideas. We're having a convention in the middle of July, and the delegates from all around the state will have the opportunity to pick the candidate that they believe is most qualified through integrity, experience, and then it really has a no-nonsense approach. And I believe that person is me. I'm sorry Destiny's having trouble raising money. I've been very gratified by the people who've come forward to help me. Again, we need to focus on beating Todd Rokita and getting that office back to the work of the people.
Do you feel you mentioned integrity, a no-nonsense approach. Do you feel you're stronger suited? Do you feel she's comparatively lacking in those areas? Is that what you're suggesting?
I think the most important thing is really our experience. I think that Destiny is a person who is, who wants to do this race, and I think that that's fine. She has a lot of ideas about how to beat Todd Rokita. Our experience is what distinguishes us. 35 years as a lawyer, worked at every level of government, including federal, state, and local, served 2 mayors, was state agency counsel to 2 state agencies, including child protection. I was a criminal prosecutor early in my career. I've been an elected official for 8 years, 2 terms as Marion County Clerk. Largest jurisdiction in the state, ran 14 elections, which is more than any clerk in the history of Indiana. I made a lot of history, actually, during those 8 years. It was a great privilege. Did the same for same-gender wedding. There are 875,000 voters in Marion County. We had more than 100 employees, millions and millions of dollars in budgets. And when you look at that experience compared to my Democratic opponent, it just doesn't measure up.
So Importantville's Adam Wren also reported on Jennifer McCormick's search for a running mate, and that some Democrats may have been discussing the idea of putting you on the ticket as a candidate for lieutenant governor to essentially complete the ticket while also taking this fight for AG off the table. What can you tell us about that? Have you been approached at all, and would you be open to that possibility if asked to serve in that role?
I really recommend you talk to the McCormick campaign about that. But what I will say is that I'm in this race because the issues in the Attorney General's office really resonate with me. Fighting for victims, working hard for victims of fraud, consumer protection, being the lawyer for the state of Indiana, because I've been a lawyer for 35 years, and most of that has really been in the not-for-profit and government sector. So those are the issues that resonate with me: medical privacy, reproductive rights. I'm excited about this race, and I'm running this race because I want to be Attorney General.
All right, up next, we'll talk with our panel about this weekend's stunning convention vote, plus Governor Holcomb on the IEDC's budget request and what it means for the controversial LEAP district. Also ahead, the former president making news on abortion. And as he awaits his sentencing, the current president's son faces a conviction of his own. This week, we'll have the latest up next.